All right, everybody, back with another one. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the trending news topics that are going on right now in government. I think the biggest things that are definitely taking place are Doge and what Doge is uncovering in a lot of their audits and investigations of government departments, and definitely some of the stuff with the border with Tom Homan, um, and some other, things that maybe Trump is passing and trying to put into effect with executive orders or whatever. But there's a lot of big things happening. A lot of things are moving and shaking in government right now, and it's actually for the good of the people. I think right now we're going through like a cleansing period. It's almost feels like spring cleaning in a way, where it's winter, but we're getting a jump start on it. Um, they're going through many different departments in the government with Doge, and they're really going through everything with a fine tooth comb, finding all kinds of suspect and fraudulent activity. And you're seeing a lot of things shake up in government. You're seeing all different types of people kind of come out and expose themselves. Um, and we're going to go through some of that stuff today. But I think that this is actually a good thing. It's like if you're cleaning out your garage and it's just been a mess for years, you haven't gotten to it. There's boxes with papers in there from years ago that you kept because you thought maybe you need them for, whatever reason, accounting, taxes, whatever. Old receipts, things like that, that you haven't looked at, that you haven't, put into digital format. It's still, old school paper. And you're ripping up carpets and you're seeing, water stains and spots and things that you didn't know, were affected or that need to be dealt with. And a lot of uh what you're seeing in the government now is um the infestation, the bugs. They're starting to come out because you're invading their space, and they were hiding there for so long that they felt safe. They were out of sight, out of mind, and they were able to just keep doing their thing. Well, now you're in there in that garage and you're moving shelves that haven't been moved in, 20 years, and the roaches are, coming out and exposing themselves. And it's all part of the cleaning process. It's all part of the cleansing and, getting everything shipshape to, make it livable again. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now, um, in the government, definitely financially speaking, because Doge is finding a lot of fraud, and it's not just isolated to one or two departments. It's widespread throughout the government. And a lot of it has to do with poor management of the government itself. So I've said in previous videos, and this is true, you have, you know, many different government positions, and the requirements to be in the government are, very few. There's not that many things that you actually have to do, constitutionally speaking, to be in certain parts of the government to be, voted in and employed in that position. Um, but there's a good thing and a bad thing to that. The good thing is it allows the average person to have a say, a voice, and a chance at actually putting their skills to good use. We're not living in a country where there's like a monarch and you had to be a bloodline of that person in order to make it into the government and have any type of influence. You're an everyday person can get in because the people get behind them and decide we want this person in. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is a lot of times they go into government having no experience and they don't know what to expect. So just the learning curve, the amount of time it takes to just get caught up with the understanding takes away from the term of how long they're actually in there to get the job done. So maybe half the time they're spending learning and figuring out what it is that they need to do in the first place. And then the other half, they're trying to implement some of their ideas. By the time they get halfway through, their term is done and they either need to get voted in again or they're out and someone else comes in and screws it all up or changes it and does things the way they want to do it. Um, so there's definitely pros and cons to our governing system. It's not like it's perfect, but it definitely it's gotten out of hand for a long time. I think that's the thing too. Like a lot of people think that it's hard to believe that many people can be involved in the same crime. They're working together as a network, or even just feeding off of each other, doing their own crimes, but not going against each other because they know they're also doing a crime. So they're working hand in hand. It's like criminals on the streets. One person doesn't invade another person's turf because they know that that's theirs, and they're not going to, sell them out to the cops to get them in trouble because they know they're also committing a crime, and they're not going to take them down because in the process they'll be taken down too. So it's almost like everybody just plays nice, and they all know they're doing something wrong. Um, we've been seeing a lot of that in the government for a long time now, but now we finally have somebody peeking behind the curtain, getting in there and actually exposing all this stuff. What this is doing is actually good because it's actually allowing a lot of the people that are involved in this corruption to expose themselves, either unintentionally or just out of fear that that's the only option that they have because they know they're going down with the ship anyway. Um, this is going to be difficult for the American people. This is definitely going to be something that's going to take time getting acclimated to because with exposing a lot of this stuff, it's going to bring a lot of realizations to light that many people were not aware of before. There's going to be some coping time needed for sure. But also, I think that there's going to be repercussions that cause a chain reaction to affect people that maybe they're going to look at Trump and his administration as though he's making things worse. But that's just the part of the pain of pulling off the Band-Aid that you kind of have no choice. You have to go through. If you're going to get that Band-Aid off, there's really no other way. You just have to rip it off, deal with the momentary pain, and then move on. I just hope that people don't get impatient with this process because it's going to take time for the cleansing to be completed and for the ship to be righted. And many people, at least in this world we live in today where there's a demand for instant gratification, don't have patience the way that we used to wait things out and to be okay with going through a season of difficulties in order to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. So that being said, let's jump into some of these articles and take a look at some of the trending news that's going on today. So there's a lot of this with Tom Homan. That's, obviously we know about this for a while. It's been talked about. It's something that Trump ran on that the American people wanted, and it's actually being put into action, was to stop a lot of the stuff going on at the border, a lot of the, illegal migrants coming in because of not only is it bad because you have people that are illegally entering the country, which they're not waiting in line and doing it the right way, which is a problem because, number one, it's not fair to the immigrants who immigrated here here the right way because they waited in line. They did the right thing. It's a slap in the face to them that came here the right way, waited patiently in their country for their applications to be processed and for them to be approved. They earned that way in. They earned their way in through the front door. But now you have people that are coming in through the back door, through the window, illegally, and they're cutting those people in line that are waiting and doing it the right way. So it's not fair to them, but it's also not fair to the American people because they're coming in and they're disrupting our economy. But that's just a small problem that's happening with this. The bigger problem is the drugs that are pouring into the country, which is absolutely devastated our nation. And then on top of that, the even bigger problem that's way worse, but way less talked about because it's something that's sort of like a taboo subject. I think that most people probably don't want to realize or admit that this is actually happening. The truth is there's a lot of human trafficking. I don't know if people really think about what human trafficking is. It's something that's a big problem, and there's a hard realization that children in America, we think about ourselves as a first world country, and that, um, we're the number one world superpower. We can't possibly have these issues that third world countries have. But the truth is, we are probably committing it more than any other country in the world. Child trafficking for labor. So we actually have slave labor of children in America today. Many people don't know that. They think that that type of stuff only happens in third world countries where it's not illegal. But the truth is, it is happening in America secretly without many people knowing. And that is illegal. That is a crime in our country to have children under a certain age work at all, but especially in certain industries and for certain durations of time per day. There's a lot of laws around that. That's why typically, depending on the state, when you turn 16, you can apply for working papers to show that you are a child, but you're going into the workforce at your own will because you want to earn a living or you just want to have, learn to work starting at a young age to get a leg up in life. But there's a reason we have laws around this stuff. It's to protect the children from being exploited, from being overworked, from being unfairly treated. Now we have so many rights and so much protection as adults in the workforce today. There's so many states that protect all different types of adults, different classes of people. There's regulations on, working hours. There's labor unions. There's so many protections in place for adults. Why would we let this slip by with children? Because it's being done in secret. It's even worse because not only are they working, they're working without any regulation. So it's not even like young children actors that are in Hollywood. They're working. They're allowed to work at a very young age, but there are so many restrictions around their ability to work, and a lot of that is enforced, and those children are protected so that they're not overworked and they're not unfairly treated. It's not even like that for these migrant children or for any children in America that are illegally being forced to work. There are no regulations protecting them, and there's no one watching them to see how they're being treated. So we don't even know the extent of how bad this is for these children. But what's even worse than that is many of these children are being used for sex acts. They're being child trafficked for sex. That is horrific. That should be something that halts the nation. There are a handful of things that are going on today that are crimes and that are sins against God, that are abominations, that should stop the world from turning. They should stop the American people dead in their tracks from being able to continue on with their daily activities, knowing that these type of things are going on. And this is one of them. How could you continue to live your life watching football on a Sunday or going out to the bar with your buddies and drinking or, going to the nail salon and getting your nails done and your hair done and all this stuff when there are children out there that are, being trafficked into this country for labor and sex? How could you live with yourself as an American knowing that stuff? You should be doing at least something, not everything, but at least one thing as an American to take action to put a stop to that until this nation is completely rid of it. Then we can focus on problems that are not as important, but definitely need to be addressed. And there are many in this nation. But this is something that's huge. This is something that is really a major, it's an epidemic. It really is. It's an epidemic in this country to have this happening in the world superpower. And if you look back in history, this usually doesn't go well for a nation that is so prosperous, so big, so powerful that it thinks it's too big to fail. And then it's riddled with all kinds of crimes and sin and immoralities. It's usually what brings down great nations, especially if they're so powerful, no other nation at that time in the world could take them in a battle. It's usually their own immorality and sin that causes their own demise. So, that's something that I think is a major, major thing. It's great what Elon's doing at Doge. It's great what a lot of these other politicians are doing, in their positions to combat some of the stuff that's going on. But this is a top issue, top 5 issue in America. If we don't fix this, I don't care who's in office, eventually this nation will crumble because it's acting immorally and its people are turning a blind eye to it. God will not bless a nation that allows things like this to continue. So it's a wonderful thing that we have a strong, confident man like Tom Homan in office in this position to tackle this and hopefully get to the bottom of this and possibly, Lord willing, eradicate this from America. But we're going to continue to monitor this and see how things go. Now, to other, big breaking issues, like I said, Elon Musk was diligently working with Doge to audit a lot of these, departments in government and get to the bottom of what's going on with our money. Where has it all gone? I mean, America pays more taxes. Its people pay more taxes to their government than any other nation in the world and probably world's history because we have the most money. We're the richest nation. And we pay all this money every year in taxes. And things have only gotten worse. So if the money is not solving the problem, if it's not fixing things, if it's not making things better, then either something is inherently wrong with the way that they are managing the money, or there's fraud involved and people are intentionally taking the money from the American people illegally and doing what they want with it, which, by the way, is treasonous. That is not allowed. And the American people obviously spoke when they voted in Donald Trump and his, team to take care of this issue. But this is something that we're getting to the bottom of. But this is a bad thing. If they can pinpoint who's responsible for this stuff, it's likely that they're going to end up facing serious prison sentences. And if some are actually, charged with treason, I believe that is a crime that is punishable by death. I believe that is still the case. Now, I'm not wishing for that for anyone. I'm just saying that this is a big conspiracy where who knows at this point, but we're probably going to get to the bottom of it. People were working actively in the government, hired by the people when they were either voted in or whatever, the people that they voted in appointed these people, actively, consciously took advantage of the American taxpayers' dollars and did fraudulent things with it. Anyone else who commits fraud in any other industry would go to jail for that type of crime. But for some reason, when it's done by the government, they've been getting away with it for God knows how long. I guess we're going to find out. But apparently, this is a big, major issue right now. Breaking news: Social Security acting commissioner resigned amid access dispute. So apparently, this person, Michelle King, didn't want to allow Elon's Doge to basically audit certain records in the government, and I guess tried to block that. But he ended up getting access to those records and finding a lot of very bombshell things that I'm sure they didn't want us to know. So either this person, Michelle King, was involved or she knew about the fraud and she was trying to cover it up on behalf of someone else. And so one thing I do want to show you is, I don't know if Elon created this or, somebody in the government did it, for them on behalf of Elon or Trump. But they actually have a Doge website now, Doge.gov, Doge.gov. And it's a lot like Elon's Twitter account. It's just a bunch of, tweets from X, from their Doge X account, talking about some of the stuff they're uncovering and finding as they're doing these audits. So you could actually go on there at your own leisure and take a look at some of this stuff. But there it is, Department of Government Efficiency. And it's just a bunch of tweets letting the public know what's going on and what they're uncovering, probably in real time, probably as it's happening. But it is cool because it does allow the American people to get an idea as to what's happening, what's going on with these audits. It doesn't it's not like the past where somebody would find something out, some secret about the government, and before they could get it to the American people with the media, they'd have to find, first of all, a media organization that was willing to pick it up. Somebody would have to put their lives on the line to, and maybe even risk their reputation exposing that stuff. Then by the time it finally got to print or got to air, who knows how much time had gone by. And it also ran the risk of that person getting found out by somebody inside the government that was committing that fraud and maybe trying to retaliate against them to stop them before they got that information out. What this does is it actually cuts all that middle stuff out. It stops whoever doesn't want this information leaked from getting to the person that has the information before they can get to the American people. Now, the Department of Government Efficiency is able to find fraud in real time and get it to the American people quickly before anybody can stop them. So this is actually a great innovation for the future going forward, because years ago we had, the only thing we really had was like WikiLeaks with Julian Assange working with people, who were working at an organization or a company or whatever, and they saw fraud going on and they wanted to expose them for it. They would have to work through all these, secret backdoor channels and websites or whatever to be able to get the information to Julian, stay anonymous, and hope that they didn't get found out by their company in time for the information to get to the people. And that created a lot of problems. And if you saw how that turned out, you actually still have Julian Assange, who was very messed up by that whole situation, that he was, arrested and held captive for a while and, exiled and all the different things that he had to go through to expose corruption to the people. We now bypassed all that. I think Elon kind of tapped into something here. I think he kind of figured out something here with cutting past all that stuff to get the information to the people before anybody can get to him. And I think it's brilliant. It's something that I think, a lot of other people should be taking advantage of this who want to expose information. But you also have to not be afraid of retaliation. I think the good thing is Elon's not afraid of retaliation. Now that he's actually holding this position in government, he's really not afraid because he's doing it, legally on behalf of the American people. And he's not going to get in trouble for exposing fraud in the government if he also works for the government. But you can check this out on your own time. Doge, like I said, Doge.gov, and you could see some of the stuff that they're uncovering, which if you look here, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm scrolling down and there's just tweet after tweet after tweet, or, X or whatever they call it these days, about all kinds of stuff. Here's another thing. Lee Zeldin right here just canceled $50 million Biden-era environmental justice grant to Climate Justice Alliance, which travels through a free Palestine. So this is politically motivated, but they're packaging it as though it's for climate justice or climate whatever. And it's a blatant lie to the American people. It's basically like setting up a shell company and funneling money through that shell company. If any American was doing that, they would go to jail, get fined. Some sort of penalty would be, put on them for committing that kind of crime, for committing fraud. But when the government does it, no one held them to it or took accountability for it for a long time until we finally, through the grace of God, got Trump and Elon and many of these people, Lee Zeldin, in office to start cracking down on these things and actually exposing it and showing the American people what the hell's been going on with their government for a long time. I do hope to see actual justice served for certain people who are committing these crimes. I do hope to see them actually get punished for these crimes, because if we just look past it, it's going to happen again. Somebody has to be held accountable for these things. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. And that's just the way that life works. So I hope that they don't just expose this stuff and then fix it and we move on after these 4 years to the next administration who just maybe comes in and finds a way to get it all back in place. I really hope the people that committed these crimes are held accountable and that the American people are able to, see the justice served to them, whether it be, broadcasting their court case, their hearings, and letting the American people have closure with that. But somebody has to go down for these crimes. Otherwise, it will continue again. It does not matter who's in office. It doesn't matter if Trump does a third term or whatever other things people think is going to happen. Um, this will reoccur again if the people who committed these crimes are not held accountable. And so if you look here, Pete Hegseth, he's actually doing big things with his new position. Says he is going to look into the withdrawal from Afghanistan and pledges accountability. So again, just like I was talking about, accountability, people have to be held accountable for these crimes. Otherwise, it's just going to keep happening again. But Pete Hegseth is claiming that he is going to hold people accountable for the way that we pulled out of Afghanistan. If you remember that under Biden's administration, I think it was early on in the beginning when he first took office, they pulled out immediately. It was a disaster. They left a ton of military equipment behind and, ton of taxpayer dollars behind in forms of weapons and machines and all different types of things. Not to mention, they totally left the area unstable and caused a lot of, harm and repercussions to the people that were still remaining there. And it ended up being a disaster. One of the worst ways to pull out of, military war operation type situation in probably American history. I mean, if that thing is really detailed and somebody really, goes into all of what happened there, it might go down in the history books as one of the worst ways we've ever, botched the pulling out of a military operation. But this is good because at least he is looking to hold people accountable for this, and hopefully the families that were affected by that will see justice. And then you have this Michigan election fraud scandal could allow the DOJ to unpack 2020 voter fraud. Now, this is contingent on Kash Patel. I think that if he gets in as the FBI director, you're probably going to see him investigate some of the major things that have been disputed or debated over the last 4 or 5 years. And one of those was the 2020 election for president. Trump still to this day has not conceded, still says that there was voter fraud and that, I think he intends to expose it at some point. It's too late now to actually do anything about it in terms of he's not going to get back, those years they're over with, but it's about keeping accountability and showing the American people that if this is true, that they stole the election and that not only do they have to be held accountable for that fraud, and again, like I said, this is treasonous. This is something that is treasonous against the American people. They voted one way, the government or whoever was involved decided, no, we're going to go this way. That's treason. And the crime for that the punishment for that can be death. I don't know if we're there as a nation anymore where we would still do that, still, put people to death for treason, but it would likely come down to life in prison without parole. But I think you're going to see him investigate some of these big things. And one of those things will probably be the 2020 election, just to get to the bottom of it and expose it for the people. Dinesh D'Souza, he did a documentary about this, exposing a lot of what went on there. And there's definitely clearly something wrong with that election. We can see that, the people who spoke, I think it was in front of Congress during that time, there were some people who came out who were experts in this field that said there was clearly fraud and they could prove it. That is something that should at least be heard in a court of law for the public to see, to at least get to the bottom of, so that the people can make the decision as to whether or not that occurred. And again, like I said, for accountability purposes too, if somebody did commit that crime, they need to pay for it. But there's a lot going on every single day. There's tons of breaking news. And at this point, with all these appointments that Trump put in, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Lee Zeldin in the position that he's in, um, you know, Tom Homan, Elon Musk, many others, and we're still waiting on Kash Patel. It's almost like they're in a competition with each other to see who can do the most good for the American people and for the people who specifically voted in this election for those appointments. It's almost like they're in a competition with each other, because every day there's something new breaking for almost every one of them that they're working on or doing to actively expose corruption and take action against it. So it's interesting times that we're in. Like I said, I think 2025 is going to be like a big year. I think it's going to be a year of reckoning for some people. I think some people it's going to be a year of blessings and prosperous, you know, either financially or just in their life in general, things in their life blossoming, a season of growth and advancement forward progress. So we're definitely going to see what unfolds this next year. But at this point, it's like every day something big and something new is happening. And it's good for the American people. It can feel difficult at times. It could definitely be overwhelming at times. Sometimes even too, we get a little bit more caught up in the negative news than the good news. If there's too much good news too fast, sometimes people tend to check out because they just think that everything is great, think we're doing well. We need to stay vigilant. We need to stay focused, and we need to, pay attention to what's actually going on in the world, and not get so caught up in the doom scrolling and all the negativity and that whole mindset of like getting high on the thrill of the ups and downs. Just stay level, just stay focused, just stay clear-headed, and just pay attention to what's going on and see what you can do as an American to, help, the advancement of some of these goals, some of these great things that are happening. I think Elon even set up with Doge a like almost like an Amazon affiliate program with Doge. I think he set up an affiliate thing where, people who are inside certain departments in government and things like that, whether it's Social Security Administration, Department of Education, whatever, if you're an insider, you can actually become an affiliate of Doge and help them expose some of the corruption. So if that's you, if you're in a government department and you know about fraud that's going on, I think you could actually go to Doge as an affiliate and see how you can help. But yeah, we all need to pull our weight as Americans. We need to do our part, no matter how big or small. Just got to do something to help this nation and to help, yourselves, your families, for a brighter future ahead. That's what we want for our children. But that's it for this video. There's going to be a lot of, things that are going on. I'm going to try, like I said, and not always do, political and news related stuff because, this channel is going to be bigger than just one topic. It's just difficult sometimes because there's just so much going on. It's hard to get caught up on everything in these videos a couple times a week. But I'm going to do my best to, diversify and do other topics. So I'll keep looking at things like that. But definitely, if there's topics that you want me to do, videos that you want me to look at or review on here, or just things you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section. Let me know. We can discuss it. This is a open forum. Anything you have to say, whether it's positive or negative to me or the channel, that's fine. It's all welcome here. We can discuss it. I think it's important that people are able to communicate, and your comments are welcome here. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, and stay tuned for the next one. All right, everybody, I just want to take a moment to promote my children's book. This is Little Boy Full of Love. That's me on the back. And this is a little sneak peek on the inside. It's a great book. It's a children's book. I actually wrote this for my son. And it's available right now on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Bookshop.org, and a lot of other online platforms. But more importantly to me, it's actually available in a lot of bookstores throughout the country. You can find out which ones are closest to you on my Instagram page. We highly recommend that you shop local, buy from a local bookstore. So if you are looking to, get a children's book for you or anybody you know, or even with the holidays coming up, it's a great time to, buy a children's book as a gift. Definitely get it from a bookstore that's local to you. But if you absolutely can't get it from one of the bookstores that are currently carrying it right now, and we're in about 15 or 16 different states across the country, so it may actually be in your state, and it could even be local to you. But if you can't get it from the physical bookstore, check out our Amazon storefront. The book's available on there right now. And like I said, with the holidays coming up, you may want to do your Christmas or Hanukkah or holiday shopping early, and you can even order it from our Amazon storefront and ship it directly to whoever you're gifting it to. But it's available on those platforms, Amazon storefront and bookstores and other websites that I mentioned. But I want to take a moment here to look at the storefront just to give you an idea of some other stuff that we have available on there. These are products that we highly recommend. They are things that we use in our daily lives, and it's all organized by category. So it's a lot easier to, shop for the holidays and specifically for things that interest you, particular categories. Available right now, many different items on our storefront. If you can see here, 61 items just in women's apparel, fall decor, because right now we're in fall, 26 items, kitchen items, baking specifically, things for around the house, children's toys, even stuff for parties. If you're trying to save money on a party and throw in your own, occasion, you can even buy some cool gadgets here to help you, put on a better party. Health and wellness items here, even stuff for Christmas. And there's the book right there. So you can get it from the storefront. You can get it from the bookstores, like I mentioned. But it's available on all these different platforms. It's really easy to find and gift to somebody. Also, I want to show you the apparel shop. And these are some clothing items that we actually produced. So if you're looking to get some cool apparel items, shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, leggings, even accessories, cell phone cases, women's makeup bags, fanny packs, coffee mugs, all different types of stuff, even some, art, all different categories here, apparel, homeware, accessories, drinks, even digital items. It's all on this store, healthybodygoodssoul.com. Anything that pertains to you or somebody that you're looking to get a gift for the holidays. A lot of great designs on here, a lot of cool designs that we actually custom created. Stainless steel water bottles, especially now with the fall and winter. A lot of cool hoodies and long sleeve shirts. This is a really cool one, I think, for women. The original Be Your Soul apparel, that one's actually really popular. People tend to like that. This one's one of my favorites. The free shirt. It's the American flag, and it says free, and that says not property of the United States government. That one's pretty cool. Got all different types of tank tops, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, tote bags, coffee mugs, even some items for kids, backpacks. So if you're the type that likes to, plan ahead, I would definitely recommend ordering from the Amazon storefront or the apparel shop within the next couple of weeks to get everything in time for the holidays. Use code SAVE15 on the apparel shop to save 15% off everything on the storefront. So order within the next week or two, and you'll definitely have everything in time for the holidays. Definitely check out all the links to everything, the Amazon storefront, the book, and the apparel shop in my bio on all my platforms: Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. But you can also find them in all the show notes for every episode that I post, and get all your orders in time for the holidays. All right, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It helps the channel continue to grow. And put in the comments things that you would like me to talk about and make videos on for the future, and I will definitely do my best to do that. Stay tuned for the next one.